Welcome to another episode of Brian's addictive personality disorder. This time around is Against the Storm, where I completely block out the world around me when I play it. The game that stares at me out of the corner of my eye when I'm doing assignments. Establishing a settlement really only takes 1 hour, and I can just have ChatGPT do my software assignment. A roguelike colony management game. This is my meth. I really gotta get tired of this game before I study for exams. Premise. There is a regular storm that comes in and destroys most things, at least most of the buildings, but there is one place that is safe. The Smoldering City. A city built into a volcano. Ruled by the Queen. She's kind of a bitch, but hey, that's politics. Your job as a viceroy is to build settlements to bring resources and knowledge back to the smoldering city. Remember that all those settlements are temporary, so don't get too attached. This world is in a cycle. Settlements get made for resources, storm comes in and wipes them out, and changes the world and what it offers every time. Let's get into the gameplay loop, or cycle even. At first you'll go through a pretty good tutorial which teaches you pretty much everything you would need to know. It gets my stamp of approval. But let's talk about the actual game. The first step of settlement making is selecting where it's gonna be. This matters, but it doesn't matter too much. It can make some things easier or harder. The first thing to think about is the biomes. They offer different resources. Here's an example of how things can be easier or harder with the biomes. There are 4 races in the game: humans, beavers, lizards, and harpies. And they all want different things to be happy. Jerky makes lizards happy. You get jerky with meat. If you go to the Royal Woodlands or Coral Forest, then meat is a natural resource. But it's not a natural resource in the Scarlet Orchard, which will make it a little harder to get meat, but still very doable. So if you go into the Scarlet Orchard, it would probably be best to not select a caravan that includes the lizards. There's also a lot of modifiers on the map that can make things easier or harder on you. Like barren lands, which means there won't be any fertile soil, which means you can't make any farms, or the petrified necropolis where dead villagers turn to stone and you get meat from gathering stone or clay. So before you get into a settlement, you are planning ahead and picking races and resources you think will most benefit you. Here is my recommendation. Pick the beavers every time. To show why, let's get this settlement started. You spawn in with your hearth and a warehouse, a couple of resources, and surrounded by trees. Every single resource node, including trees, needs a specific building to harvest it. And some buildings have a bonus to the harvesting speed if the worker has the matching attribute. Humans are good at farming and gathering plants, lizards are good with meat, harpies are good at alchemy, like making wine, I guess, and the beavers are great at cutting trees. And this is why they are objectively the best race in the game. Because every map has trees, and in every settlement you need those trees cut fast. And the beavers do exactly that. Yes, I am a beaver supremacist. Yes, I am prejudiced against the other races. Does that make me racist? I don't like where this is going. You need to cut down trees to get to the glades, which hold more resource nodes and glade events. Glade events are resolved by assigning workers to it, and either paying resources or suffering some debuff while it is being resolved. And that part of the game just got an update that makes the game harder, while also making some events easier to resolve. Weird. Remember that you want to do everything fast, because of the Queen. She is an impatient bitch, and if you aren't hitting her quota fast enough, she will become more impatient, and once she hits her limit, the game ends and the settlement is abandoned. But we can get some reputation to make her happy. The most obvious source of reputation are the orders. An example of an order is craft 10 of this, discover 5 glades, or keep villagers' resolve above a certain threshold for a while. More on that in a bit. The rewards you get from orders are reputation and resources and building blueprints. Sometimes. You don't just have all the buildings available to you in each run, you have to unlock them as you build the settlement. There are some buildings you permanently unlock, but for the most part you have to select the buildings you think you're gonna need from the random options given to you each time. You can also buy building blueprints from the trader. You also get reputation from villager resolve. You increase their resolve by building houses designed for their race, cooking the food that they like, and building need buildings like the tavern or clan hall. And they will always require a resource to fulfill a need. Like brawling needs training gear and leisure requires ale. Even if you don't have that resource, you want to build those buildings. Because they have passive effects called cornerstones that can help you out. Last place I can think of right now is from glade events and caches. So the cornerstones are buffs like increasing your resource crafting and gathering output, increasing resolve, increasing the amount of a certain race you get with every new caravan of villagers, and lowering the forest hostility. The hostility of the forest will grow with the amount of villagers you have, the amount of woodcutters you have, and with time. The hostility makes things harder, mainly by having a negative impact on resolve. And if resolve goes into the negatives, the villagers will start to leave and the impatience of the queen will grow. So you need to stay on top of your villagers' need the whole game, or just rush orders, caches and glade events to win faster. But that method is unreliable, especially after the recent update to glade events. Roads. You can make a basic one for free that boosts villager speed, and I recommend doing it. You can upgrade the hearth by adding some decorations around it, and upgrading the hearth is very much the good when you start dealing with corruption and rainpunk technology. Some glade events can create blight rot cysts, which corrupt your hearth and starts killing villagers, I think. I've never let it hit maximum. You can collect water from the endless rain and collect water from geysers and then use that water to boost production speed and the resolve of workers in certain buildings. And if you use about 60 units of water in a building, a blight rot cyst will form. And you kill the blight rot cysts with purging fire, which is made in the blight post building. The last thing I haven't mentioned is the trading post, where you can buy or sell to traders who will come regularly. You can even buy cornerstones, but you can also set up trade routes with other settlements. You get money and increased standing with the other settlement, which can increase global resolve, if you have the right cornerstone. And that's it for settlements. Once you win, you get some roguelike currency which you can spend in the smoldering city for permanent upgrades to your future settlements. Like a discount at the trader, making villagers faster, reducing the speed of impatience growth, and even permanently unlocking some buildings. Now it's time to talk about why I like the game. There is a lot I can do, and a lot to think about, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels more like I have a lot of freedom in my choices. So many ways I could raise villager resolve or acquire reputation. Having loads of resources, buildings and mechanics I need to juggle sounds like it should be overwhelming, but it isn't. Because it's kept simple, and the game is great at giving you information quickly. Like if I click on a forager's camp to build it and hover the blueprint of it around, I will get a small pop-up around the map that shows me the location of the resources it can harvest. It is an amazing quality of life design, and I feel that philosophy is carried to everything here. If I need something, it's obvious where I get it from, or at least easy to see where I get it from. Great UI. In every RTS game, I always found it very satisfying to harvest resources and watch them disappear. Like cutting the trees in Warcraft 3 and now cutting trees in Against the Storm. The game has great pacing, there aren't really any dead moments, there is always something to do and you can speed up the game, so if there is a moment of just waiting, you speed through that really quickly. The game completely captures my attention. I usually watch a video on my second monitor while playing games, and here, once a video finishes, I won't notice that it finished until I finish the settlement. I guess that's the magical flow state I keep hearing about. Always a task to do, always something to think about and manage, and it does that without being overwhelming. But it does push you to perform with the impatience mechanic. And there are these things called deeds, it's like challenges. So that is something you can chase, trying to fulfill deeds while you play. The randomness of it definitely keeps everything fresh. Like the races you can choose 1 or 2 and the other race will be random. And then you have to choose a building from a random set of buildings and you have no idea what you will face in the dangerous glades. So it doesn't get boring from doing the same thing again and again. I also like the process of creating a great economy. Like getting all the resources to craft everything I need. And there are some parts, mainly food, that can be automated. And it's damn satisfying when most of the stuff is just running without you needing to think about it. Racing against time, completing deeds, creating a great economy in the settlement, cutting through the woods and conquering the glades, and slowly building up a big settlement leads to a very satisfying experience. It also feels good that with the upgrade system, every new settlement should be better and more optimized. Conclusion: Colony management, roguelike. 2 of my favorite keywords, and I never thought I would see them together. Who knew it would be so good? I'm also just a sucker for upgrade mechanics. Becoming good, then gooder, then goodest, gives me a real sense of pride and accomplishment. I really like colony management sims. Growing a small one-building colony into this huge settlement with lots of moving parts. And what I appreciate about this one is that it doesn't take a lot of time. You get that process condensed into an hour. If there is any change I would like, it would be to get another timed order if I fail one. Good UI, upgrades that encourage replayability, good economy mechanics, and lots of variables like the races that keep things fresh, without being overwhelming. I recommend this game, and I give it a beaver out of all the other races. Subscribe, call me Uncle Brian, and have a great day.